5 years have passed since I began regretting my divorce. Suddenly, my former in-laws got in touch. And now I'm about to reunite with my ex-wife. With a mix of emotions, I broke the silence with, "Long time, no see." But her response surprised me. "My name is Keith Miller, a regular 40-year-old office worker. 5 years ago, I divorced my wife, Lily, whom I had been with since our student days. I met her in high school when she moved into my neighborhood, and our families became close. Lily was bright and lively, always making everyone smile. I was a serious and somewhat gloomy boy, but Lily befriended me, and our relationship continued through college. When we were 21, our families had dinner together. Lily's father, a bit tipsy, joked, "There's talk of Lily marrying the son of my company president." Emboldened by the alcohol, I blurted out, "I'm the one who will marry Lily." I must have had feelings for her from the beginning. Amid everyone's teasing, I still remember her blushing in the corner of the room. True to my declaration, we got married when we were 28. We supported each other's careers, and our families were overjoyed. "Keith, true to your word, as expected," Lily teased me about that night at the dinner. Our newlywed life was blissful. Just having a wife waiting at home made all the work stress disappear. Since we had known each other for so long, we never ran out of things to talk about, and her cheerfulness brightened my mood. However, those days didn't last. After I turned 30, my work became busier and business trips became more frequent. As I got busier, I found myself unable to focus on our family life. "Maybe it's time we think about having kids," Lily would hint, but I couldn't respond. It wasn't that I had stopped liking her. I thought maybe when work calms down, we could return to how things used to be. But finally, when we were 35, after a typical business trip and preparing for the next, came home to find the house unusually tidy. There was Lily with a resolved look on her face. "Let's get a divorce. If we continue like this, even the happy memories will turn sad." Her expression was one I had never seen in all our years together. That was when I realized how selfish I had been. Regrets came too late. We went through with the divorce, and I lost contact with Lily and her parents. The days that followed were terrible. I went through the motions at work, but my heart wasn't in it. Colleagues, aware of the situation, tried to introduce me to new people, but I wasn't interested. After all, Lily was the only woman I had ever known. I lived as if crushed by guilt. 5 years have passed. I am now turning 40 alone and feeling lonelier day by day. The regrets only grow, and memories of Lily flash in front of me like scenes from a past life. Remembering the days we met, the evenings we spent walking home together, and our newlywed life. The longer the relationship, the heavier the loneliness that weighs on me. I was sure I would never see her again. One day, as I was slowly coming to terms with this, I got a call from Lily's parents. They said they wanted to meet and talk. Seeing them much older made me realize how time had passed, and I was no different. They didn't scold me but gently asked, "Keith, what do you think about Lily?" I shared my feelings of regret and apology for the past 5 years. They just poured out of me. I wanted to see her just one more time. At that moment, her father looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Would you remarry Lily?" His words reached my ears clearly, and every other sound was blocked out. As hard as I tried, my brain couldn't catch up. Seeing my stunned expression, he started to say, "If you are," then his wife cut him off, saying, "Let's wait until you meet Lily," murmuring with downcast eyes. They took me, and we got into a taxi. We arrived at a major university hospital. I could only follow them, not understanding why. The person lying in the hospital bed was indeed Lily. Her face was calm as she slept, not showing the 5 years that had passed. She even seemed younger. Her mother gently approached the bedside and spoke to her. Lily opened her eyes sleepily and looked straight at me. "It's been a while," I managed to say. "Who are you?" She definitely said that, thinking it was some kind of joke. I looked at her parents' faces, but they both looked down. "It's me, Keith." At my words, her eyes widened. "Are you Keith?" From behind me, her father whispered quietly, "Lily has lost her memory." It felt as if time had stopped. I doubted if it was a dream, but the trembling of my hands told me it was real. After our separation, Lily had returned to her hometown and was working there. However, one day after work, she was involved in an accident and rushed to the emergency room. She broke several bones in her upper body, but was not in danger of losing her life. When she woke up, she had lost all her memories. They said it might be temporary and could come back soon. Her father had taken me outside the hospital room to talk. It was hard to believe, but her expressions and actions made it understandable. Still, her memory remained vague. She could barely remember her childhood and family, but other details were lost. Lily's memory was jumbled, with names and faces eluding her. Recently, though, there had been a change. Her father told me that she had started to remember fragments of her days with me, but the timeline was messed up and her memories were all mixed up. However, she didn't remember my face or that we had been married and divorced. She only remembered the happy times she had with me. Those words made my body tremble. Lily thought of me as a lover, not as her husband. Her parents couldn't bring themselves to tell her the truth. After discussing it, her parents decided it was best for her to meet me since she wanted to see me. Whether to tell her about the divorce was left up to me. If I told her, she might remember everything, but she might also drift away from me again. Uncertain what to do, I found myself alone with her in the hospital room. "Do you really not remember?" "I'm sorry. I remembered that someone named Keith was important to me, but I can't recall his face." She spoke with eyes as pure as a young girl's. Looking into her eyes, I recalled the days from when we met to when we parted, but those memories weren't the same as hers. "So you can't be sure I'm Keith?" She smiled and said, "If my parents say so, it must be true. Besides, I can't remember, but I'm sure you are Keith." Then she shared with me all the memories she could recall. There was nothing incorrect, but she had completely forgotten our fights and the days before our divorce. There was no way I could tell her. Lily, with her fragmented memory, loved me as she had in the past and cared for me, the very thing I had hoped for those 5 years. But it was just because she had lost her memory. Feeling incredible guilt, I asked, "Can I come here again?" She answered, "Of course." I couldn't return her smile as well as she did. After that, I visited her frequently. Her parents told me, "We just want to make the current Lily happy, so please keep visiting her." "Could you tell me more about us?" "I want to remember more. It must have been happy days," she often said. Each time, I only spoke of the good memories. Couldn't tell her about how I had neglected her, not in front of her smiling face. Those days continued for months. I explained the situation to my parents, and they also met Lily a few times, naturally keeping our marriage a secret. However, her memory never returned. She'd enjoyed her days with me. Finally, she was about to be discharged. She would still need regular checkups, but there were no issues with her daily life. In the end, I never could tell her the truth, neither about our marriage nor the divorce. I felt a guilt even greater than the regrets of those 5 years. Then, a while after her discharge, a family gathering was arranged to celebrate her return home. Everyone was lying to keep her fragile happiness intact. However, perhaps relaxed by her healthy appearance, her father slipped up, saying, "It's been since the wedding that we all gathered like this." The atmosphere froze in an instant. Whose wedding? Lily asked. Her parents quickly tried to change the subject, but the damage was done. I understood everyone's feelings, but ultimately it was my responsibility. Besides, I didn't want to lie to Lily, the woman I loved, anymore. Actually, we used to be married, I said, standing up and looking straight into her surprised eyes. But we got divorced. It was my fault. I couldn't stop the tears of shame. Everyone else in the room was silent, and only the sound of my sobbing filled the space. What do you mean? Lily's trembling voice came through. I told her everything about our marriage and how I had neglected her, which led to our divorce. I'm truly sorry. I took advantage of the fact that you didn't remember. I was ready for whatever she would say. In the end, I was just being selfish and causing trouble for everyone. I shouldn't have been the one crying there at that moment. Lily gently placed her hand on my shoulder. Then let's get married again, Keith. Her voice was unbelievably kind. Led by her hand, I raised my head to meet her eyes. Indeed, I had forgotten your face and our marriage, and I still can't remember clearly. But I do remember that I loved you. Her firm voice continued to resonate in the room, and I still love you now. I want to be loved by you again, including all the sad memories. Her words soaked into my heart. The regrets and guilt I had wouldn't disappear. But finally, I saw a bright path forward, the direction I needed to go. Lily, let's get married. I hugged her while crying with sobs. Our parents also cried tears of joy as they blessed us. Lily held me tightly and whispered in my ear, "It feels like this has happened before." Yes, but I won't let you forget again. I promised her. A few days later, we officially remarried and started living together anew. Lily's memory isn't perfect, but now that's okay. If there's something she forgets, I'll teach her. My role isn't just that. I aim to make the fun memories even more fun and to transform the sad memories into happy ones. This is what I have vowed in my heart.